Yeah, yeah. Hands up. We gon' dance in his presence tonight. She talking. Shout for Yahweh. All the earth gon' sing. We got joy. Let the praises ring. Yahshua save me. Now I'm free indeed. Glory, glory. Yeah, he all I need. Yeah. Step in the line, no chains on me.
No chains on me.
Mercy forever, his love don't leave.
His love don't leave.
We serve with gladness, heart on fire. Truth in my soul, take me higher.
Every tribe, every nation, clap your hands, celebration. No fear, no hesitation. Yeah, it's love, my foundation. Lift your hands, give him praise. Forever true,
his mercy reigns. All the earth gon' sing, we got joy. Let the praises ring, Yahshua save me. Now I'm free indeed, glory, glory. Yeah, he all I need. Eternal love, yeah, it never fades. Generations gon' lift his name. Enter his gates with a heart of thanks. Forever his truth, it remains, it remains.
yeah, clap your hands, stomp your feet. Got that holy fire, feel that beat. Goodness and mercy chase after me. All my life, y'all set me free.
Shout for Yahweh. All the earth gon' sing, we got joy. Let the praises ring, Yahshua save me. Now I'm free indeed, glory, glory. Yeah, he all I need. Keep walking. It's rising. Your heart's good, it's true forever. We gon' dance in his house together. Lift up my voice, I'ma praise Yahweh. Yeah. Chains break off when I call Yahshua. Shua. Hands in the sky, we gon' dance with power. Yeah. Sheep don't sleep, we awake this hour.
We wait. Sing a new song, heart full of fire. Sword in my hand, lifting a choir. Saints on the rise, enemies tired. Judgment written, truth never expires. Armor alert when I step in the city. Praise on my lips, got the whole flock with me. Drums in the temple, my spirit get busy. Yahweh's the king, every knee gon' witness. Dancing with joy, chains on the floor. Ooh, yeah. Victory's mine, we breaking the door. High praises sound like thunder and war. Oh, yeah. Yahshua reign forevermore. Evermore.
Lift up my voice, I'ma praise Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Chains break off when I call Yahshua.
Break it. Yahshua.
Hands in the sky, we gon' dance with power. She don't sleep, we awake this hour.
We wait. Two-edged sword when I speak that word. Word. Saints on the move, whole earth gon' learn. Nation judge, wicked hearts overturn. Every false crown gon' crash and burn. We the chosen, no fear in the fight. Glorious Zion, we walk in his might. Darkest flee when we step in the light. Sheep of the lamb, forever upright. Praise in my lungs, I can't hold it in. From the dust, he forgave all my sins. Marching with angels, the kingdom within. Yahweh my rock, we destined to win.
Lift up my voice, I'ma praise
Yeshua. I lift my hands, I praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Yeah. Straight from the dirty raising me. Yahweh's word never shakes me. Battling storms on the daily. Still I rise, he gon' save me. Psalm 50 in the chamber. Praises cut deep like a razor. Got no fear of the danger, cause Yeshua my anchor. Enemies fall, they stumble. Prideful man gon' crumble. He the ride when I'm humble. King of kings in the jungle. Through the valley I walk, I know you with me. Chains broke off, yeah, his power set me free. Never be ashamed, let the whole world see. Every knee gon' bow when he claim his seat. I lift my hands, I praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Deuteronomy flow blessings chasing me down. If I keep his commands, I'll never drown. Got the truth in my heart, put the law in my crown. Yeah, his word on my lips, yeah, his power and sound. I was lost, he restored me. Grace and mercy before me. Enemies tried to floor me, but Yahweh gon' work for me. Isaiah 40:31, mount up, I'ma rise and run. Strength renewed, it's never done. In Yeshua I overcome. When I call your name, I'm covered in peace. Chains fall off, yeah, all the pain released. Forever I'll stand and your love increase. Yahweh my song, let my praise never cease. Yeah. I lift my hands, I praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Yeah. I'm walking in the spirit, no fear when I hear it. Yeah, his voice clear, I revere it. Enemies can't interfere it. Glory to the King of Zion, Yeshua forever reigning. Every tribe, every tongue gon' cry out his name and praise him.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to you all. Thank you so much for showing up here today. Listen, we got quite the treat for you. We know it's the Sabbath, y'all. We know it's the Sabbath. You understand what I'm saying? So we're going to bring this thing in right. I really wanted to shed some light on some stuff, and I really have a special guest joining me here today as well to help me with executing the shedding of the light on this particular topic. Something that is extremely important for all of us who, honestly, we need to know this information. We need to learn it. We need it for growth so we can be able to expand, not only strengthen our family unit, but also our financial tool, right? Because we got to strengthen that tool. We got to strengthen the financial tool, not only to leave behind a legacy for our future generations. We need to be able to be sure that we're leaving behind a inheritance. And I really want to impart and unpack some of the best ways that I've discovered on leaving behind this legacy, the things that I've actively been working to build myself, things that had to be acquired. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to dive deep into this here today. Okay. And this is a very special broadcast. And I promise you now that whoever is going to miss this one, they're going to have to definitely catch the replay, because this is going to be a very special one. You all in the audience will be able to have an opportunity to ask your questions effectively so we can be able to get everybody on the right track. so we can be able to form what we know, a community of individuals who have wealth of knowledge. It's no point in you being able to acquire a wealth of knowledge or an expertise in a certain field, and we do not share it with each other, especially here in the melanated community. Honestly, in the Hebrew Israelite community, all of us here who need to benefit from this biblically, scripturally. You understand what I'm saying? And keeping the word of the Most High. There's no point. There's no reason why. We're going to shed some light on this here today. Trust in this state. You already know, here at the WarSheep Podcast, we believe that light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience. And that patience will create unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all. Let's get it.
Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right, y'all. Sorry about that. We're going to dive deep into this thing. And like I said, I have a special guest with me here today. Honestly, this next individual I'm about to be bringing up is somebody who is bone of bone, flesh of flesh. This is my actual brother here, y'all. And honestly, he's been doing a fantastic job with running the family business and being able to get the business going and flowing, you know, doing the things that needs to be done over at Preeminence Financial, man. We've been able to really pump it out, crank it out, and service so many different people. You guys can go check us out on the Google Maps. We got 5-star ratings. We've been helping so many different families not only make and save money. It is absolutely insane how many people we were able to help and able to accomplish in helping. He's been doing a fantastic job with doing that for over 4 years now, almost 6 years now. You understand what I'm telling you? Like I said, it's been an honor and a privilege, no matter what, to be able to have him on today, to be able to help me unpack the essence of trust in a state. You understand what I'm saying? I would like to call up my next guest here pretty soon, but once he's ready, he's going to click on his camera, and that way I can be able to know that he's good to go. My thing is, this is Rah McClain, Rah Ramani. Welcome in.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? How y'all doing, man?
All right, let me make sure, because we tested audio earlier. Hold on a sec. Let me make sure. Okay. You got your mic unmuted?
Yep. You got me? Can you hear me?
Okay, you're in. Let me reset my speaker. All right, let me reset my speaker real quick. All right, you good to go. Go ahead. Say one more word.
All right, man. We good?
Yes, sir. We good. Loud and clear. Okay. Real quick. We're going to dive into this thing real quick, and we're going to take a biblical approach first, just to give you guys an understanding and reasoning as to why we're here today, sharing this information in regards to trust with you. I'm going to dive into the scriptures in regards to it first, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of what trust truly is. If you don't mind, my brother, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick. Let the people know who you are.
Okay, man. Well, first off, let me say thanks for having me on. It's truly an honor to be here because I know that you've built a strong platform. So it's nice to meet everybody. And yeah, let me get right into it. So my name is Rah McClain. You know, this is my brother, Barak. And we're here, man, to talk trust and estate planning. I've been doing it for about 6 years now. I think it's been about 6 years. Preeminence Financial Services has been helping families build generational wealth. Not only have we helped them build generational wealth, but we also have helped them build themselves a platform to where they can help them their families as well, because we don't just build, we actually educate them as well. And so they could take that information and pass it down generations to come.
Hallelujah. Generations to come, y'all. So the reason why we really need to dive into this thing is honestly, you know, because biblically, scripturally, we need to be sure that we're doing what we need to do. And that's pursuant to Proverbs 13:22, right? I really want to dive into it like scripturally, so that way we'll have a full understanding as to why. Like I said, we're diving into this and we're presenting this information to you guys today on the Sabbath. We need to learn more about strengthening ourselves, not only our financial tools, but also everything we got in regards to passing down this thing. And let me go ahead and share you guys my screen so that way you can see me, right? You can see what I'm seeing. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get into it real quick. Boom. All right, so we got it up on the screen here. Let me see if let me make it better. Boom. Okay, so let me go ahead and condense this so y'all can see it better. All right, there we go. And I'm going to go here with it. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over it real quick. Proverbs 13:22. Let me show you guys real quick as to what we're doing here and why we are bringing this guy to you guys here right now. All right. Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children, right? To his children's children, meaning you're going to pass down his wealth, right? You're going to store this up. You're going to build a foundation of wealth and you're going to be passing it down not only to your children, but also to your grandchildren will reap the benefits from your labor. OK, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. OK, and those individuals, the wealth for the sinner is laid up for the unjust or for the just. So we know for sure that our inheritance, the things that we do, we need to be sure and prepared to. We're going to be passing that down to our future generations. And anybody who you see, man, they out here winning. They out here getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're wicked. You already know that that's going to be stored up for us who are just, who are seeking to do righteousness and not wickedness. OK, so this is what this is about. Another scripture that I would love to go over in Genesis 17:7. Genesis 17:7. OK, we're going to go over the scripture in Genesis 17:7. All right. All right. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee. You understand what I'm saying? And that covenant needs to prolong. It needs to be prolonging. It needs to be something that is going to be long lasting from one generation to the next. And that means that you got to be diligent. You got to be diligent in what you're doing. It's time for you to work diligently in storing up your wealth and storing up what you need to pass it on to the next generation, because when they take it over, they're going to have to prove themselves to be worthy to the Most High as well. They're going to have to prove themselves to be worthy. And if they're not worthy, then the next one down the line, if they're worthy to take it over, they can be able to do so. But it's for the generations to come. You already know that covenant is everlasting, right? Everlasting covenant to be of Yah unto thee and to thy seed after thee. So we got to be sure that they're prepared. It's just like we teaching them the scriptures, just like us bringing them up in the ways that they ought to go so they do not depart from the way. Well, a part of that way is being sure that they're financially secure, or being able to understand wealth and finance, right? Trust is the best vehicle to be able to place that in. Trust is going to help us with everything we need when it comes to passing it on to our beneficiaries, which is the children, the next generation. OK, it'll give them guidelines and stipulations in regards to it. And we're going to dive deeper into that as we go. OK, Yah's promises were generational, showing that divine blessing is meant to flow through bloodlines, not stop with just one individual, with one person, but its true potential is to flow all throughout Israel, right? All throughout your bloodline to keep you on the right track, to keep you healthy. The Most High don't want you on this earth. He don't want you on this earth with nothing. He don't want you on this earth in suffering and struggling. That's not your plight. He wants you to be in abundance and in fruitful. You understand what I mean? That's what he wants. He wants that from you this day, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 8:18. I'm going to try to flow through this real quick. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 8:18 real quick because you already know why. We got to get in this book a little bit. Today is the Sabbath, so we're going to definitely do that as we peel back the layers as to what as to understanding trust more. All right. So let's go ahead and Deuteronomy 8:18. But thou shalt remember Yahweh, thy Elohim, for it is what? He that giveth the power to get wealth. He gives you the power to get wealth. Okay. Now we know that money, the love of money, is the root of all evil. We know that for sure. But wealth could be your health. Wealth could be obviously plentiful in harvest. Wealth can be you going out and getting it and being able to store up your assets and your resources, getting land, acquiring land and other assets. That is wealth. You understand what I'm saying? Spiritual growth, spiritual connection, spiritual development. That is wealth. Just remember, y'all, for everybody coming in, leave a question. Be sure you put a question mark at the end of it so it can indicate that you've left a question. And we're going to be answering questions today as well. Okay, y'all. So drop a question in the chat if you got anything you come across that you want to ask about. Okay. And we'll get to the question. Okay. I'm going to be storing up the questions for everybody. All right. So this is what the Father was will for us to do, pursuant to Deuteronomy 8:18. He wants us to be striving, right, for wealth. Striving for wealth. Wealth can be all these things that I just mentioned, right? Health, finances, all these things. He wants us to strive for wealth. Okay. Now, wealth creation, and not only that, right? Preservation of that wealth, preservation of wealth, are these things are not acts of greed. So it's not based on greed. This is based on responsibility, being responsible with what you have, not being frivolous or not being unfruitful with it, but being responsible with it to ensure resources are managed wisely. And you already know, when you're managing your resources wisely, the Most High Yah will be pleased by that and will bless you for handling these assets wisely. And this is for the kingdom purposes. Ultimately, it's for kingdom purposes, right? Number one, you have to strengthen your financial tool, and you can build for the kingdom if you strengthen your financial tool. You got to strengthen the financial tool. It's just a tool. It's just a resource. It is not the end all be all. It's not your life. It's not your salvation. It's not even something you should rely on, but you should work diligently to strengthen that financial tool, pursuant to Deuteronomy 8:18. Okay. Deuteronomy 8:18. Let's go ahead and continue on, y'all. We're going to go to Matthew 25:14 through 30. Matthew 25:14. Man, I should have had Seasons to Journey. I'm sorry. I forgot to send you the scriptures for today. I totally forgot Seasons to Journey. My bad. Matthew 25:14. Let's get to it. Okay. Matthew 25:14. This is another reason why you must learn how to operate through trust and how to store up store up your wealth for your future generations, for your inheritance purposes and all that good stuff. Okay. All right, let's go into it. All right. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. Who called his own servants and delivered him on in his goods. Okay. Now we all know that, of course, it's a business transaction. Moving in business, moving in wealth, moving in strategy. You understand what I'm saying? This is what this is what we're pursuing to do. You need to be wise businessmen. You got to understand how to move it, moving it, delivering the goods, doing the things that needs to be done. Okay. Who's called his own servant and delivered unto them his goods. Okay. So we need to understand how to be wise businessmen. We got to understand how to move wisely, right? When we're gathering our wealth. You understand? So let's continue, right? Let's continue. And unto one he gave 5 talents. Okay. I'm pretty sure we all know this story, right? Unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, right? According to his ability, and straightway took his journey. Man, we all got to know this story. We all got to know and understand how wise these individuals was. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. So he took his 5 talents and multiplied it. Now he has 10 talents. He went out and he took care of business. He was proactive is what he was doing. He devised a plan. He followed a plan. You understand what I'm saying? And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. Listen, he who had 2, he gained another 2. He went out and was being proactive in what he required. You understand what I'm saying? We ought to be proactive. But he that had received one went and digged and in the earth and hid his master's talent, his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came, brought the other 5 talents. So the one who had the 5 came and brought the 5 to the master, right? Saying, Master, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. So he got an increase. He yielded his increase. His master said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. How many of you going to want to hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant? When you're done accomplishing your goals, when you're done accomplishing your mission, you want to hear Yeshua tell you, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Okay. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over mine things. Enter thou into the joy of thy master. Okay. Come on, enter into that rest. Right? My thing is this, right? Okay, let's continue. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Master, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. Listen, he came and he did his thing. His master said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy master. Enter into that joy of the master, into that rest. Then he which had received 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew thee that thou art a hard man. Listen, he said, listen, master, I knew you was a hard man. He said, you are cruel. So reaping where thou has not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. So he hid it. And he said, there it is. Here it is right here. This is the talent you gave me. I hid it because I knew you was a hard man. I knew you was a cruel man. And I knew that you probably would have been upset with me about something. So here I hid the talent. Here it is right here. His master answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant. Totally different response. Now he's a wicked and he's slothful. He's a wicked and slothful servant. Thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest, therefore, to have put my money to the exchangers. He should have done something with it. He should have been proactive, right? He should have been proactive in what he was doing. He should have been, he just corrected them immediately and rebuked them for not being what? Proactive, for not doing what the other servants did, right? And multiplying his talent. Even if he got 1 more talent, would have been good enough for this master here. And then at my coming, I should have received my own with usury, right? We got to understand, my thing is this, right? When we are not being proactive and multiplying our talents and doing what we need to do and doing our due diligence to be sure that we're leaving behind true generational wealth, we need to be sure we're doing it on the glory of the Father, right? We want him to say, well done, my good and faithful servant, with the talents that we're being provided. We need to be sure that we're being diligent and working with these talents appropriately. We got to be diligent in what we're doing. Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which have 10 talents. So he took that talent and gave it to the man who multiplied it double, right? Now he has 10 talents. Now he has 11 talents. And the other servant, listen, he's getting rebuked. He's getting reproved. He's getting corrected. He's getting chastised for not being proactive in the ways that he needed to operate, right? We're going to go over to Proverbs 21:20, and we're going to dive deep into this thing. All right, y'all. Let's go to Proverbs 21:20 real quick. Proverbs 21:20. And now I'm moving fast. Like I said, if you got a question, drop your question in the chat and then put a question mark at the end of it, and it'll send an indicator saying that you asked the question, okay? And that way I can save your questions. All right. Okay. Proverbs 21:20. There is treasure. Okay. There is treasure. There is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise. There are treasures to be desired. What are those treasures? The treasures are the fruits to your labor. The treasures are the things that are being stored up as you're dwelling for the wise, the ones who are wise enough to be able to accomplish the things that need to be accomplished. Not like the last servant who hid and buried his talent. How many of us are too afraid to take that next step, to take that next leap, too afraid to go on that next business strategy? But the Bible tells you, if you were to step into this thing, that these things of desire, these treasures and this oil will be here stored up for you, for those who dwell in that wisdom. You understand what I'm saying? It'll be stored up for you when you're multiplying your talents, right? But a foolish man, what? Spinneth it up. So when you're reckless spending, when you're doing things that don't make sense, we got to understand that that's the biggest problem. That we can't, as if we're going to count ourselves to be wise, we have to understand how much we're spending up our wealth, and we got to stop the bleeding. We got to start to make wiser decisions to funnel it back into our communities, not only back in our communities, but back into our generations to come. We got to understand how to do this. Is if we're going to count ourselves to be wise, if we want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servants," if we want to perform on that level, we got to funnel this thing back in. It's saying, I acknowledge that everything I own belongs to the Most High Yah. You understand what I'm telling you? And I am setting divine order in my household. So you got to set the order. Set the divine order in your household. Understand that the Most High comes first, and then that financial tool to be strengthened. That's how we can be more effective, not only for our brothers and sisters around us who may need us one of these days, who may need some assistance, who may need some help. Listen, but also for our future generations to come. For us to be wise enough to set this up, listen, there's nothing left to be said. Because the Most High would require that from you, right? He will require you to be wise with what you do, with your finances, with leaving behind generational wealth. You being able to have your bowels of compassion open enough, and then also being wealthy enough to be able to help those around you. Not only wealth in money, but also wealth in health, wealth in mental health, wealth in spiritual growth. Wealth in biblical knowledge. Being led of the Spirit through the scriptures, not listening to men and allowing men to guide us, but allowing the Holy Spirit to lead us through the scriptures to learn and gain all knowledge, right? In today's world, trust and estate planning are the kingdom tools that allow believers to fulfill the scripture. Honestly, especially if you got lands, especially if you got communities, especially if you got future generations you're looking to leave behind an inheritance for. Building systems of blessings that outlive them, that outlive us all. When we're building up these systems of blessings, guess what? Got so many individuals that's going to reap the benefits from it. That's going to love it. Honestly, tell you the truth. That's what you're gonna acquire. So one thing that I really want to do is I want to start to dive into, because we didn't got into this word. I really want Rah, I want you to tell us more about the protection of the assets. I would like to dive into how trust and how estate planning, how is this going to be beneficial to not only the saints, but also for future generations to come, and protecting their assets.
Okay, can you hear me? You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You good to go?
All right, man. So everybody, okay, so it works so simple and easy, and is really, really beneficial for y'all families to go ahead and tap in with a trust. Because first off, let's think about it. When you got a trust, you become private, okay? When you don't have a trust and use something like a will, it's public. We got to get that point down pat. So if you got something public going on, of course, the public is going to be a part of it. So that means you're going through probate. Probate is a court system where if you don't have a trust in place, they're going to take everything that you own. If you have anything like money, cars, clothes, it don't matter what it is in the trust. They're going to take it through probate, and they're going to take a piece of it first if you owe somebody and give it to them and then pass it down. And that could take years. So a trust is beneficial for you because it keeps you in the private. It keeps all of your assets private. It keeps all of your anything that you want to pass down private. You can put anything in a trust, by the way. It could be something on so simple as earrings. It could be a shirt. It could be a car. It could be a piece of bubble gum. Whatever it is that has value, you should put it in a trust. Now, another thing, too, I wanted to let y'all know is that not only does a trust help you protecting your assets and passing it down with avoiding probate, you can actually take a trust and save on taxes, too. Now, what it is when you have a trust and you file your taxes and say hypothetically something did happen to you, you could take it and do an estate return and pass up to $2.5 million down to your beneficiaries tax-free. A beneficiary is someone who you're looking at to pass down any assets or money to. Those could be your kids, grandkids, your brother, your sister. So that's the most important thing. We got to understand what the definition of tangible assets are and intangible. So you can put tangible assets in the trust or intangible. Tangible is something that you can touch, okay? So if it could be a home, it could be a car, it could be earrings. Those are tangible. Gold, silver, whatever. I don't care what it is. If it's value to you, you can put it in a trust and keep it and remain private, and so you can pass it down to your children. Intangible assets, you could put in a trust. A few examples are like something like a life insurance policy. You got a life insurance policy and you don't put it in a trust, something happens to you, guess what? The government is going to put that through probate, and then they're going to say, hey, let's take a piece of it, because it's going to cost for them to go through this whole process first. Then it's going to take years for them to distribute it to your beneficiaries. So we got to keep that in mind, okay? Now, the difference between what you call an irrevocable trust and a revocable trust is very important too. I'm gonna drop y'all some jewels right now. I'm gonna give y'all some game, and this is really important to remember this. And if you got a pencil or pen, write this down. You got irrevocable trust, and then you got revocable. An irrevocable trust is something that you cannot change. So if you got a home and you put it in an irrevocable trust, you cannot take that out of an irrevocable trust. That means that's going to remain there after you transfer that asset into irrevocable. A revocable trust is something that you can change. So if you got a business and you're running a business and you want to keep the funds flowing and you start purchasing assets and you know that you might sell the asset, I would say a revocable trust is something for those type of people who are investors. So we got to remember revocable, irrevocable, tangible, intangible. Tangible are something that you can touch, which are assets you can touch. Intangible is something you can't touch, such as stocks, bonds, life insurance policies. These are the key things that we got to remember about a trust. Now, is it easy to set up? Yes, it's very easy to set up. It's so easy, even if you really take the time out to look at how to set this thing up, you can do it. But if you need assistance, we're able to assist you.
Right. And so when it comes to this, right, the taxation, the lawsuits, the taxation, the civil litigations, things like that, creditors, other things of that nature, right? People put and convey their assets over into a trust to protect that wealth, to protect and guard it for future generations. Because if you're being sued by your own name, by your own legal name, if somebody's looking or seeking to take your assets, then guess what? You don't have anything in your name. It's all already conveyed into a trust. So all of your assets will be protected against civil litigation. Is that correct?
That's correct. Meaning, like, no matter what, if you don't have a trust, you're going to have to go through probate, and they're going to want a piece of the pie, no matter what. Even if you don't have any creditors coming after you or trying to sue you. So if you don't have a trust and you don't even have a will in place, the judge is going to basically say, hey, you know what? We need to find out who the beneficiaries are. That's going to cost money and it's going to take time, because you know how family get. So a lot of people, families come and they're like, hey, this is mine. This is this and that. To avoid all of that, you want to just set up a trust so you can have all that information written down on paper and filed in the county where you live. Okay. So yes, it's very important to go ahead and get a trust to avoid probate court, which is a system just to basically exploit your money. If you pay attention to the world, you'll see a lot of if you check out a lot of celebrities, a lot of entertainers, a lot of athletes, they never have a trust. All their estates never have a trust, and they have to go through probate because they were never educated on having a trust and protecting their family and protecting their assets. So next thing you know, they're taking their cars, their clothes, they're taking their it don't matter what it is, they're taking it all because they're saying, hey, this person owes me this person owes me that. And anybody can come say that. So it's just like, hey, now it's tied. Your money's all tied up, and it takes years for you to get that money to your beneficiaries or the people that you wanted to have those assets that you left behind. I hope I was able to explain that really efficiently for y'all on what a trust is and how you are able to benefit from it, and kind of some of the key terms and stuff that you should learn. Like, for instance, I want to break this down. There's 3 elements to a trust, okay? The person who starts the trust is what you call a grantor. Y'all want to write that down. It's called a grantor. The person who controls the trust is a trustee. The grantor appointed the trustee to control it. And then the person who benefits from the trust is what you call a beneficiary. Those are the 3 elements. This is really...
So we got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
What was that? Go ahead.
I was going to drop another jewel, but I'll do it in a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to pop this question up here real quick. If you have a house with a mortgage, what is the best place to leave it? Where's the best place to leave it?
Well, first of all, when you got a mortgage, you can still put it in a trust. I would put it in a living trust still, because at the end of the day, the house is still yours. You're just paying a mortgage. So you do own the home. What I would do is I would do a transfer. I would transfer into a trust. And a lot of people use it doing a quick claim deed, certain elements like that. But I would definitely go ahead and place my home into a living trust.
Right. And that's with the mortgage.
And if you just do decide to sell it, I would do is what you call a revocable trust. Because remember, I told y'all, irrevocable means you can't change it. Revocable means that you can change it.
Mm-hmm. And that'll help with taxes and rebate and things like that. When you're filing the taxes and your trust owns the home, you conveyed it effectively into your trust. Your trust is now operating as an entity. There's an opportunity for tax loopholes. There are opportunity to file taxes in regards to paying yourself rent. You have an opportunity to say, listen, I pay my trust this amount of money, right? So now I'm filing taxes on that amount of rent every year. So now the taxes are able to get you back a bit of a kickback or refund just because you put it or conveyed it into your trust, right? And so that's a part of it. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically what it is, I'm not offering legal advice, and I'm not telling you how to do your taxes. That's something that you want to probably go and do some research on, because everything we're talking about here today, you could literally go research it on your own, and you can figure this stuff out. What I will say is this, though, is that a trust is a separate entity from you, meaning that you are you, and the trust, you can look at it as another person that you created. Okay. So just like God gave us and he trusted us with the earth, he created the earth, right? What you call a grantor. So he trusted and he created the earth, and then he had trustees, which is us. And he trusted us with the plants, the animals. We want to make sure that we take care of all these things on this planet. And then the beneficiaries are who? Are the how we leave it behind to the people growing up in this world, how we leave it behind. You know what I mean? So we got to think about it like that, because everything what a trust is, it connects to the Bible. That's how trust was even created. It makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense, because, of course, the scriptures is based on trust. When he gave the covenant agreement to the Israelites, it was based on trust. He trusted that we fulfill the covenant. So everything is based on trust, agreements, trust and agreements. This is what it's based on. Equity is a huge part of it as well, something that's fair and just for all, right? So these things are really important. Now we got another question here, which if I gotta get clarification, I will. Welcome in, bless you, Mother Adkins. Can you not put a transfer on death on assets to not go through probate, or set up a trust or will? I would always go trust, but what do you think about this question?
Okay.
What I'm trying to do. Okay, transfer on death on assets to not go through probate. Okay, I think I'm understanding what she's saying. She's saying, can you take the assets of the estate
Mm.
and place them into a trust in order to avoid probate?
Yeah.
If I'm correct, let me know in the chat, sister
So
or mother.
so basically,
Go ahead.
yes, you want to say, okay, so I kind of understand. She basically want to know a transfer on death. So it does help bypass probate with the assets, okay? But the assets transfer directly to the beneficiaries once the owner passes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if
Okay.
you get a living trust, it helps you control how and when the assets are distributed, okay? So that's what a living trust does. So yes, it does help you avoid probate, and you should get a living trust. Yes.
To avoid that probate, which would be great. A will get you stuck in civil litigations with other parties that probably had nothing to do with it directly. A will get you stuck in civil litigations, where a trust, once it's outlined and signed, it will get you relieved of having the problem of civil litigation, right? You already have it outlined in those contracts for trust. So you'll be good to go. You'll be solid. Now, I want to move on to this next topic here. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. See if I can get it better. Nah, I can't. That's not gonna look good. Let me go here with it. Boom. Let's go back here. Now, I want to talk about this because beyond the grave, you can be able to control things from the trust. Pursuant to Genesis 18:19, right? Pursuant to Genesis 18:19, this is something that we ought to have done as well, right? And it will tell us, for I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. Okay, after him, meaning you. He knows you. You will command your children and your household after you're gone. Listen, you're commanded, and they shall keep the way of the master. They will keep the way of the master. So what you outlined in your trust will effectively have everybody following suit for future generations. If they do not want to keep the way of the master, then they do not want their inheritance. It means that they want to lose it, like Esau, right? They want to lose their inheritance like Esau, because we know that Esau gave away his birthright for a pot of lentil soup. So the same thing here, the same sort of situation here, right? That, if you want them to continue on in the ways of the master, you're going to control that through your assets. You're going to control it through trust. So they must keep the faith. They must keep the faith if they want to keep their wealth, if they want to keep their inheritance. Must study the ways of the Most High, to do justice and judgment, that the Elohim, that the master may bring upon Abraham that which he have spoken. Okay, spoken of him. So we keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We need to understand controlling beyond the grave. If we're going to effectively do it, we need to do it through trust. We need to do it through estate. The only way we can be able to keep our future generations keeping the way of the Elohim, keeping the ways of the Most High, if they want to continue on in their inheritance, if they want to continue on in wealth, if they want to continue on in prosperity and build and everything that you work so hard to do, then they must keep the faith in order to keep that inheritance, just as Esau had to keep his birthright in order to keep the blessing. You understand what I'm saying? But it said he sold it to Jacob for a pot of lentil soup. So we're gonna dive into this real quick. Control beyond the grave. How can trust help us with that, bro? Hold on, wait. We got she's addressing it. But go ahead. How's that help us out, bro? You got your mic muted.
Hey, can you hear me?
You put a notice on our. Yeah. Yep. You good to go now. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's the question right now, right there.
No, sir. What you can get in, you can get into how do we control using our trust? What are
Uh-huh.
the effective ways that we can control the assets and the inheritance for future generations by with a trust? How can we effectively do it?
Okay, so well, this is how I think, y'all. I want to remain anonymous. I like to remain private. I like to be private, and I don't want nobody. I don't want to own anything, own nothing, control everything. So what you do is when you do a trust, you can make somebody erect it for you, the grantor, right? So if you trust somebody like your mother, your father, somebody that you control, it could even be a corporation, and they create the trust as the grantor, right? And then you are the beneficiary. No, your children are the beneficiary and you are the trustee. Excuse me, y'all. You're the trustee and your children or whoever you're passing anything down become the beneficiary. So that makes you control the trust at that point. Now you control it. That means you control everything in it. So what you do is you put all your assets in it. So that no longer is yours. I'm talking about clothes, shoes, cars, whatever. And when you put it in this trust, you no longer own it. The trust does. So that means that you have nothing at that point, but you control it. So it's kind of like the same thing. You don't want to own nothing because you don't want nobody coming to take anything from you. If you look at the stories, like I said, you always seeing somebody coming after their wealth, coming after wealth. Some people are smart and just put it into their mother's name, right? But even then, what if somebody want to come sue your mother or something like that? So that's why trust is important because it's all together. It's a separate entity, and that's how you can be able to protect your wealth, protect your assets, for you not to own it. Because at the end of the day, we cannot leave this earth with all of these possessions, these earthly possessions. So what's the point? We need to just have fun with them, and then we need to live our life and and be able to pass down these assets without getting the government involved. That makes sense. Did I answer that correctly?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you definitely hitting on the notes. And I think that her question lines up exactly with it. I know that she said that she leaves so they can just transfer over assets from the bank account using a death certificate. I think that honestly, tell you the truth, that your assets that you left in the bank, mother, you left your assets in the bank. And so anybody who wants to bring a civil action against you, then you can effectively lose those assets. If they want to bring a civil action against your estate, then you effectively lose that as well. So it's not protected. It's just in a bank, right? In a bank account. If you were to convey this over into a trust, that trust will protect your assets from civil litigation. Not only that, it will outline stipulations, not only for your future generations, but it's going to be protected. And you can leave behind directions. You can let them know exactly what you expect of them in order for them to gain these assets, to gain this wealth, to tap into it. The bank is not going to protect you. Your trust, the trust that you form with your husband, your master's home, the trust that he's forming is what's going to protect not only your assets for future generations, but it's also going to protect you all, your generations to come. If you don't want them to sell a property, right, then it'll protect that from being sold, those assets from being sold. You cannot sell this. This is for the generations and generations to come. So the land must stay in the family. You can be able to make those stipulations without having issues with civil litigations. And honestly, we can also do what we need to do pursuant to Genesis 18:19 and being able to control our future generations' assets if they keep the faith, if they keep the way, right? If they're following the ways of Yah, they follow the ways, the biblical principles, then they are able to reap their inheritance. Like I said, just like Esau should have kept what he needed to keep in order to reap his inheritance as in his birthright, right? Same situation here. We need to be sure that we're holding them accountability. As for me and my house, we shall serve the Most High Yah. And that's how we need to go about and pursue it. But that was a great question. That was a fantastic question, mother. I think that was a fantastic question. What do you think, brother? You got anything you want to add to that?
I think that was a good question as well too. No, I think they on point with it, and I think that we're doing a great job with breaking this down.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got another question here as well. Is that what Dow did? No, sir. That's not what Dow did. Dow has formed himself into a foundation. So now a foundation is only going to benefit one party. Okay. A foundation is only going to benefit himself and his family that is associated with the foundation. A trust can benefit multiple different trustees within that trust. Now, like I said, I always recommend my clients to do not only a not an irrevocable trust, but also a revocable trust. Irrevocable trust, you can be trustee, but you cannot be beneficiary within that trust. But a revocable trust, you can be trustee and beneficiary in that trust, right? So I tell them to form both because the ones who are solid, the ones who are locked in, you'll want to get everybody who you know for sure. I mean, your mother, your family members that you can trust, anybody else you can trust to be a trustee on that board, then you go ahead and place them as trustee, and that's irrevocable, meaning that it's going to be extremely difficult to change. You know that you can trust these individuals. Now, a revocable trust, you can interchange it. You can change as much as you want to change on it. You get what I'm saying on a revocable trust. And my thing is that when you're doing this, it benefits everyone. Everyone who puts work into the trust, who actually produces for the trust. As a trustee, your fiduciary role and responsibility is to produce for the trust. So anybody who produces for the trust, they were going to reap the benefits of their labor. So this is the reason why it's nothing like how Dow did, because Dow is only benefiting himself through his foundation. You understand what I'm saying? Anything you'd like to add to that, my brother?
Well, I don't know Pastor Dow too much, so I can't speak on him. I never really seen exactly how he did his business or anything. But what I
I'll respect that, because there's so many people out here who don't know Dow, but they want to do whole documentaries on him, and they didn't even met the man, never even met him, but they got whole documentaries on him.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
You got to think about this too, though. You never know what
sir.
people are doing, because that's why trusts are important, because they're private. You could never know exactly what's in this man's trust, or in anybody's trust for that matter, unless you don't set it up correctly and you put that whole trust in the county, which you're not supposed to do. And this is some game and a jewel worth more than gold, what I'm about to say. You never take your trust and put the whole trust in the meat and potatoes of that trust and put it into the county. You want to give notice to the county where you live, so they can know that a trust does exist. That's it. Meaning just simple verbiage of who the trustees are, what are their duties, and who the beneficiaries are. That's it. Okay. So it's called a certification of a living trust is what you need to put in there. Okay. And you always want to make sure you record it in the county where you live. So to answer that again, I don't know what he has in his trust, because I'm pretty sure it's private. If you're smart.
Right.
If you're educated, let me not say smart. If you're educated on how to properly structure a trust. Now, the only reason why I know these things, y'all, is because it's called trial and error, cause and effect. I wouldn't know none of this stuff if I didn't have a cause and if I didn't make mistakes. And then you had to learn from the mistakes to grow. So you're talking to somebody who not just talking, but actually been through it, created multiple, many trusts, or help people guide them in creating their own trust.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. And I believe that bro, Vic, you asked the question of what are the best trusts to start with. I believe that I've already answered it. I think we both actually answered that, of course, with the revocable, irrevocable. Honestly, it really does depend on what you want to accomplish. You got to know that for sure as well. What you want to accomplish, how you want to move is the best thing to move with. Like if you want to do a irrevocable trust and that's all you want to rock with, it means that everything is locked in solid and you cannot make yourself a beneficiary in that trust. So you got to be okay with that, right? But if you just want to rock with a revocable trust, a lot of times I say, hey, take a irrevocable trust and keep it private. But your revocable trust, you can open up a bank account with that one. You can kind of establish certain things with that one. But that one's once you start opening up bank accounts, then people can start to look you up in the ABA lookup tools and all that other stuff. That means you're starting to put that more out in the public. But your irrevocable trust remains private at all times. And all your assets, that trust is conveyed over into your irrevocable trust and it's protecting it, right? In its privacy, it's protecting it, as well as your LLCs are going to be going into your revocable trust, protecting that. And we're operating in a way as to where we can keep the protection flowing, right? So anybody want to move any actions against us, guess who truly owns all these assets? Our irrevocable trust that is in the private, meaning the IRS and the Department of the Treasuries are the only ones who have the information, and they will not disclose it to anybody without a FOIA request or without any information to be able to disclose it appropriately, right? Not even the police can look this up. They'll be you'll find confused. Anything you want to add to that, bro?
Yeah. Everything you said was true and accurate. And I believe that you're absolutely right. It's so many things that we could talk about when it comes to these trusts and why we need it, but we do need to understand this, that the information is new. If it's new to you, you should definitely try to make it familiar, because this is what's going to protect your family ultimately. No matter what, you're going to need a trust. All the best investors or you would say smart businessmen or people that you see that keep their property, they have a trust. They have a trust.
Like for modern money and mechanics, all that good stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got another question. If you're married, should you separate trusts? Should you separate trusts if you're married?
If you're married, should you separate the trust? You know what? Let me say this. I'm here to tell you and educate you and guide you. You have to make your own choices when it comes to your trust, because at the end of the day, this is your mind, your brain. I'm here to guide you and help you think for yourself, for you to become your own leader in this trust and to make sure you have power. That's our goal at Preeminence Financial Services. So that's a decision you got to make. Me personally, if I'm married though, and I have a trust, if I trust my wife and I love her, I'm going to keep her in that trust. Now, if it's something sticky going on, I feel like maybe I'm gonna give me a separate trust, and it's gonna be private, just in case. I mean, because a lot of people in America do get divorces every single day, and it's very hard, you know. And then when you get a divorce and you sign a contract with the state, you know they want to get paid, you know. And so now that trust is going to be getting ate up because they're gonna be like, we need some money. You know, where you gonna get it from? And if y'all come into court with the trust, they're gonna start taking some out that trust because of that reason. Okay, the only bulletproof trust that you can really have is an irrevocable trust. Like you said, though, when you got an irrevocable trust, you cannot be the beneficiaries, you know, and nor can you be the trustee. I mean the grantor. Nor can you be the grantor. Sorry. So irrevocable trust, no grantor, just trustee.
Right. And to add that, and I guess to shoot that rabbit while it's running, the marriage with that whole you can outline that in your trust too. So you can create your own stipulations and grounds for marriage. When you're doing this, a lot of people practice polygyny, like that's associated with WarSheep Podcast, and of course in the faith, some people do. But having marriage contracts, having contracts with your spouse, you can actually form that contract, forge it, put the stipulations in that contract and place it into your trust. So if anything were to happen, anything were to come about, then that contract is what makes the law inside the courtroom. By the time you go there and you do your litigations, whatever you outline that she can have within the trust, right? Whatever you guys agreed upon signing this marriage certificate, marriage contract, this covenant agreement, that's what she's going to receive. That's what she's going to get. That's what she's going to agree to. And so the trust really helps with protecting you from the civil litigations when it comes to marriage. A lot of these NBA players, these football players, these ball players, they're afraid and terrified to get married when they could keep a marriage covenant between themselves and the Most High, who only deals through trust. If they were to do it that way and put their covenant agreement into a trust, then they're lawfully married. They place that into the county, then they can be able to enact and effect that contract on a state level, right? On a state level, if they file it with Washington, D.C., then that means it's going to be on a more federal level, right? So they can be able to enforce it if they were to file it into the county. So they're afraid to get married, but really, truthfully, they just need to form their covenant agreements and put it into a trust And by the time it's time to divvy up or whatever, if they feel like they want a divorce, then guess what? You got yourself protected through trust, right? So that's something that could be a real a valid option. If I'm not explaining this wrong, right? Which I don't believe that I am, because that's just how it works. It works just like whatever that makes the contract. The contract makes the law. So whatever you guys got in your marriage covenant agreement and you signed up for it, she signed up for it and agreed to it, placed it in a trust. You got an extra layer of protection for yourself if you got assets, right? And effectively, Preeminence Financial is somebody who actually has been doing it and have been doing it for close to 8 years now, right? And so definitely, if you need help with it, listen, you got to reach out. But we're here to guide you into the proper ways to do it yourself, right? To be able to affect and enact change in your own life and for your future generations, pursuant to Genesis 18:19. Yes, sir. Anything you want to add to that, bro?
Yes. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Does it give you the option to?
Let me see. Okay, got it. So here, if y'all can see this, can everybody see this? You can see it?
Let me add it right now.
Now, say if my goal is this: if you can be educated on trust, we're going to be doing lives a lot more. I'm gonna be going in on trust more. We're gonna even have more guests talking about this stuff, so you could learn this stuff on your own. That's no brainer, and that's what I prefer you to do, learn on your own. And I'm here to guide you and help you if you need to. So if you need that help, you need guidance, you go to this website, Preeminence Financial. Now, if you scroll at the top here, you'll see this link right here. It says Trust and Estate Planning. You click that, and then here you'll see some information. You can click this button if you're just ready to get started right now. Okay. And it's going to guide you and take your information. You're going to see a form that you fill out right here, and then we'll get what we need to help you. And then from there, let's go back. You even got some information you can read on it, some straight bullet points so you can kind of understand trust. And if you keep scrolling, it'll show you the different packages that we have if you do need help and assistance with setting up and structuring your trust. Okay. We even have monthly plans for you if you need that. Now, if you want to go even further and you want to kind of just learn more about trust, we have created a book. It's a simple step-by-step book. Even a baby can read it. It's only $33. You can click that and get instant access. It's only if you need it, though, because like I said, this information is out there and you can read all this stuff on your own. But since I've been doing this so long, I've been doing this about 6 to 7 years, almost 8 coming up. I put it together in my mind and I was able to formulate this ebook specialized for anybody who's just looking to learn more and more about trust. And it breaks it down step by step. Everything we just talked about is in this book and plus more.
All right. So what I would like to go into next is legacy planning. A trust allows you to establish family missions, right? Charitable giving and business, connections all through and through, building a generational legacy instead of just leaving behind material wealth. Okay. Instead of just leaving it behind and hoping that it'll be done appropriately, the trust will allow you to have this legacy planning. And I want to go a little bit, dive deep into legacy planning. What would help you do contractually for future planning? Listen, my thing is this. When you have your trust agreement, when you have your trust formed, you got to know that as it says in Genesis 18:19, we're going to pull that up one more time. In Genesis 18:19, that what? For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Elohim. And what you got to know, that only way you can be able to effectively do that for legacy planning is through a trust. In this day and age that we're in, when you are doing it through trust, they're going to enforce it in courtrooms. You understand what I'm telling you? Whatever you outlined in your trust agreement is going to be enforced. It's going to be protected. It's going to be guarded for generations to come, meaning this is concrete. It ain't nothing moving in this trust. Ain't nothing going to be edited or changed or anything. So in order for us to effectively do that for our future generations, we would have to do it responsibly through a trust. Anything for legacy planning, brother. Legacy planning. How else can the people be able to do the legacy planning portion through a trust?
Okay. So when you say legacy planning, you mean just basically planning out how to structure the trust, or do you mean basically how one should go about just planning their legacy? Because I got so many different tips that I can tell y'all.
Right.
One of them is
Right.
this.
Plan. So, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So planning the legacy, planning a legacy for future generations while working through trust.
Okay. So, why so if you got a trust and you're the trustee, first of all, you can utilize this trust as you're living. Trusts are not just for people who die, you know what I mean, or who pass away. So you could definitely utilize your trust as you're living. Now, a lot of key things that you should realize about a trust is about building wealth. There's a few ways you can build wealth. If you say, hey, what can I put in a trust? There's a lot of questions I get. It can be anything, because everything is worth money. Even a shirt on your back, if you went and put it on the website right now, you probably could sell it for $3. $3, you take that $3 and put it in some Apple stocks. The Apple stocks, you put it in a trust. The Apple stock might go up off of $3. You never know. It's that simple. You just got to be smarter with money. Or you can simply go get you a life insurance policy, whole life, universal, IULs. These are good investment vehicles to build generational wealth. Why? Because as soon as you purchase this policy, not only can you gain compound interest on that policy, but you also got a $350,000 policy. That means your trust is worth $350K. So if anything ever happens to you, all that money goes into the trust and passed to your beneficiaries. That's one way now that your trust is funded. That's how you fund a trust. They're going to ask you, how are you funding this trust? It don't matter if you put $5 in there, $10 in there, $100,000 in there, a life insurance policy in there, Apple stocks in there. It don't matter what it is. These are different ways it can be a sock. I'm just trying to make it simple for y'all so y'all can understand how it's not just for the rich. Trust can be for anybody.
Right.
Now, I see somebody who said about life insurance, you got to pay monthly. Yes, you do. Now, this is the thing about that. When you pay monthly, single time you pay monthly on the right life insurance plan, not only do they give you interest on the money, but you can actually go back and borrow the money as well. This is what you call infinite banking. So now you got your own family bank wrapped up in a trust. So why go take $10,000 and spend it when you can make money off that same $10,000 and go borrow it? When you borrow money, what is it, y'all? It's tax-free. Tax-free money. So if you got 10K sitting in the bank right now, they're only going to pay you 0.3 cent or something like that off of that, versus going in, putting in life insurance policy and getting variable amounts, 9-10%. So imagine getting 10% monthly on $10,000. What's that? $1,000 a month? You know, something like that. So we got to really be mindful of what we're doing with our money. We want to take our money, make money first, so we can build generational wealth and put everything in the trust. You start a business right now today, and you build that business out the correct way. You can go and borrow money from a bank and purchase an asset, put the asset in a trust, and then let the asset make you money and then pay the loan back. But it was all tax-free. These are different ways and strategies that a lot of people who are wealthy use to build generational wealth. Did I answer that correctly? I know I dropped some.
Yeah. That was a fantastic way to be able to help with the legacy, right? It's working through that vehicle. It also, when you're doing it through from what I'm understanding, of course, you can become your own bank, lending to other family members and generations and grandchildren, whatever, through this particular life insurance policy, right?
Right. So I got a story. It's going to be quick. I actually, the reason why I could talk about this, because I do it currently. I had a family member who passed, one of my aunt's children. And what happened was I was able to borrow. I was like, why would I take the cash out of my, just take cash somewhere versus me just borrowing it from my life insurance policy? So I borrowed the money from my life insurance policy. Once I borrowed the money was still there. Like I never borrowed it. So it was still gaining that interest off the money while I paid for this, and I paid it back with interest, meaning I paid myself back with interest. And so now I got a powerful investment tool in order to help me build generational wealth for my family. And if anything ever happens to me, then my family gets richer or gets more wealthier. So it don't make sense to have insurance on a car and not your body. And it don't make sense to protect
That's right.
your body and protect that wealth. You got to have insurance and you got to have protection.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And is that a question? Let me see. There is so much cool tips on that insurance, and one method is the rich getting a big policy, then making money to pay it all back when they are done with it. Yep, absolutely. I can't verify that claim, but that's exactly what they do. You're absolutely right. And in fact, that's what they do. They borrow. They use what they say other people's money, right? Other people's money, and they go ahead and invest in their businesses and help it grow, help it flourish, help it thrive. And that way, once it strengthens itself, they can pay that cash back, or they can be able to write it off on their taxes as a capital loss. It's either one or the other, right? In order to continue to play this game and continue to play, the credit game or whatever it may be. And then through that refund, they can easily pay some of that back or make up some payments or whatever it may be, right? But you right on the right track with that one. So I got another one, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Tax efficiency. Okay. Strategic estate planning, minimizing estate and inheritance taxes, right? Ensuring more wealth, staying within your bloodline, ensuring that the wealth stays within your bloodline. As we know for sure, we made an example of Genesis 18:19, in which we, of course, need to have our bloodlines lined up with the biblical principles. And the way that we can do that, for them to keep the inheritance, tax efficiency. How can we be able to avoid taxation in regards to it? Not evade taxation, but avoid taxation with the trusts and things like that.
So, at Preeminence Financial Services, we also handle trust and estate taxes, which you would call 1041s. Okay. That form, everybody here probably does 1040s. A 1041 is a form for a trust or an estate. So that's what we specialize in too as well. Now, this is how you are able to strategize, is what I call it. It's called a tax strategy. We strategize and help you. First of all, you're able to pass down, I'm thinking right now, I think it's $1.7 million this year. It's about, you can pass down $1.7 million to your beneficiaries tax-free. So if you got $100,000, $200,000 or $1 million in the bank, right, that will become tax-free. That goes to your or to your beneficiaries tax-free. That's one way. That's the good benefits about having a trust, because you could pass down wealth tax-free. So it's just, that's good, because they would tax it any other way. Now, another thing too is you got to realize is that when you're dealing with trust and you're dealing with taxes, it's more efficient for you as well, because they're not able to go ahead and take that through probate. That sound good?
Absolutely. Okay, we got a question.
Your beneficiary inherit that money tax-free.
Okay, beneficiaries receive that money tax-free, and that's avoiding taxation upon receiving that, which is fantastic. And of course, the question is,
go ahead. Sorry, bro.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Question is the ebook on your website? Is the question.
Oh, yes, it is. It's on the website. I actually shared the link in here. I shared the website link in here. You can find it. I'm pretty sure in the bio of this the podcast. You can go to the website and just click the drop down box on products and services. Go to trust and estate planning. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you'll see the ebook. You won't be disappointed. Everything we're talking about is in there for sure, and it's a little bit more information for you to go ahead and kind of learn and study up on trust. Now, keep in mind, you want to make sure that you always do your own research. It's very imperative that you do your research, so you can be educated on what a trust is, because our ultimate goal is to make sure that you have the information so you can help others. We need to spread the knowledge. I wanted to put one more thing out here. Okay. Think about this. Mm-hmm. When you go to a bank, banks purchase life insurance policies. Okay. This is what they do with your money. When you put your money in the bank, they take that money and then they go purchase life insurance policies with that money. And then when somebody comes back and they want to borrow it, they borrow it from the life insurance policy. So the money that they borrow from the life insurance policy is still making money. And then they make you pay back that loan they just gave you with interest. So they double win it. So that's kind of the same thing where we want to be like a bank and think like a bank. We want to take our money out of the bank and put it in a life insurance policy like they do, so it can grow, and make sure we put that in the trust. So now we worth what we say we worth. Something happen and you don't got liquid cash or liquid fiat or liquid currency. You got a what is it called? Intangible asset, right? It's still an asset.
Right. That's right.
Now, a life insurance policy is still an asset. Okay, stocks, Apple stocks, whatever you're using. If you wear Nike a lot, go buy some Nike stocks. If you wear Jordan a lot, go buy some Jordan stocks. Whatever you got going on, buy stocks. That's a what? Intangible asset. These are all things you can fund the trust with. And these things go on to what you call a Schedule A. You can write that down. So, I'm dropping some major jewels. What happens if you don't got that little thing where it say boom and it drop? Because you should be able to be doing that.
I got sound effects. Yeah. I got sound effects. I got gunshots.
If I'm not speaking, if I'm not giving you some jewels, and let me know in the chat. If I am, put it like a 9 or something. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, you should have been.
I got gunshots. I don't got no but yeah, that's jewels. Definitely gems, jewels. Honestly, invest into your stocks as well, which would be great. We're going to dive into this next one here. Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 13:22 once again. I want to bring that back out real quick because we want to be sure that we're making it very clear. What? A good man, leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. Okay? Not just to his children, but his children's children. Right? And so if we're effectively doing it, guess what? We're learning as much as we can on how to protect our assets better, on how to be sure that those assets stay within the family circle that are passed down from one generation to the next. The best way we can be able to break generational curses in regards to wealth and finances here in this community is if we start implementing the wisdom that the book gives us. The Bible teaches us everything we need to know. It's an equitable book. It's fair and it's just. It's going to teach you more about trust, understanding that it takes trust in order to know that you got your trust in who? The Most High Yah. You have your trust stored up in Yah. So guess what? You need to deal in trust when it comes to your family. Trust needs to be poured out. These are agreements between one or more party. When you're dealing in foundations, you're trying to enrich yourself. You're trying to enrich yourself and those who are boards of that foundation. You're not trying to be sure all of the people are reaping the benefits. Anybody who's associated with you are reaping benefits, right? Because they are trustees within that trust. But when you're effectively doing the trust, you are literally allowing it to trickle down to the next generations, allowing all your trustees as they're putting into the trust, as they are being effective in their fiduciary role and responsibility to providing more income and more assets into the trust. They also are going to reap what they sow. They're going to reap their harvest. They're going to reap what they sow, all the seeds that they planted, and they're going to receive that harvest back, not only for themselves, but their future generations, contractually through trust. It's only what's fair. It's only what's just, and it's only what's equitable to all parties. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we're going to get into this next one. All right, bro. The family. Did you want to add anything to that?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let me make sure we ain't got no questions here. In other words, avoid paying residual fees. We're going to get to that here in a minute. Avoid paying residual fees can you bring some more context to it? In other words, yes, we're paying residual fees in regards to what, brother? My people suffer for the lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge. Therefore, you already know it. Most High shall reject them. So, yes, sir, they suffer for the lack of knowledge. So this is effectively how we can be able to change the financial blueprint, right? It takes the hard work and sacrifice and dedication of those who are tired of being tired, who tired of being sick and tired, who tired of being broke, who tired of their future generations not being secure, right? Don't you want that land? Don't you want that property to where if your offspring, if your future generations, if they are having a difficult time, if they're struggling a bit, they always have a foundation, a firm foundation they can rely on and reset their life if they're going through some sort of financial hardships. Everybody will want that. But of course, they need to be sure to support the laws of the Most High. They got to be serving the Father. And I believe that that's going to be some of the stipulations for a lot of us, right? All right, so we're gonna get into the statement here. Family unity and accountability. This is huge, right? Family unity and accountability. When done properly, a trust can what? Promote what? Stewardship. Proper stewardship, teaching your heirs how to manage wealth responsibly rather than what? Wastefully. Proverbs 13:22. This is the reason why we're going over this now. Proverbs 13:22. Now, when it comes to family unity and accountability, working through trust, brother, what would you add on to that?
You know, it like you say, family unity and accountability is important because you know, over the years that I've been building, I noticed that when you come together with your family, you're able to do more. Now, say hypothetically, somebody in the family does passes, and then now all the family coming together, and they're like, how are we gonna get the money to pay for this? Imagine everybody in the family creating a family trust, having everybody with a policy on them, a life insurance policy, right? Make sure you had it, and everybody working in the same function, same business if you got one. That's generational wealth. That's coming together as a family. That's creating your own tribe right there. Did I answer that right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you on the right track. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so that's one of the biggest things. Generational wealth. If y'all take a look at a lot of different people's setup, right? I'm talking wealthy people who have massive amount of wealth, and I'm talking like, you know, of course, money. When you take a look at some of these individuals, they have a trust in place. When it comes to family unity and accountability, listen, everybody's accountable one onto another in this trust. Meaning, if you do certain things that goes against the trust, goes against the covenant agreement of the family, then you are liable for losing your inheritance. And so you don't see a bunch of individuals who are wealthy, right, where they have family members or any offspring that is speaking out and trying to make a fool over the family of the family or of the family trust. Because of what? Because they may lose all. They may lose all their inheritance. They may lose everything. But honestly, this is what keeps us accountable one onto another, right? But they also have things to where problems within your family circle or within your board of trustees, if there's any conflict, there's things outlined to be able to resolve that conflict. You can do it biblically. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Things like that, right? To be able to handle these things pragmatically in a very organized way that keeps the accountability circulating within the trust, not only within the family unit, but anybody else you trust that is considered to be family, right? So trust has a protection, a level of protection for all people. No, you can't just put somebody out of the trust without actually having litigations or a due process or whatever it may be in order for them to be found unworthy, right? Or somebody who's not executing their fiduciary role as a trustee in that trust. There's things that hold you accountable for the trust just purely based on those standards. And I think that it lines directly up with biblical principles to keep us in order, to keep us tangible, right? And to keep us honest, right? And to keep us honest and dedicated to the mission. The mission is what? Ultimate success, ultimate strengthening of the financial tool, ultimate service to the Most High Yah, first and foremost, right? So that's one of the things for sure I want to add on to that. You got anything you want to throw in there as well?
Yeah, and you know, and when you teach your heirs how to manage stuff responsibly, that's the best thing, because think about it. You got your trust set up. they're gonna your beneficiaries, your children, the generation after you, gonna be like, man, I'm so happy that my parents was able to think straight and clearly and set us up for success and leave us something behind, like, trust. Like, nobody knows what a trust is.
That's
Most
right.
people don't know what a trust is. Most people don't understand how trust works. And for you to take that initial step to actually do this, because you got to realize we're in America. This is monopoly. And they wouldn't monopolize on you if you don't know the rules. So all it is there's rules to this game that we're playing when it comes to this monetary system that we're in the United States of America. So we got to play the game right. And you got to learn the rules. You got to learn the rules of the game. It's just the game. It's like a video game. You got to grab the remote and play the game and stop letting other people grab your remote. You got to get in the driver's seat of your car and stop sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's
Start to
about
take control of it.
take control. Take
That's
control
right.
and be in control and stand in your power, because you're powerful, And so it's time to stand in your power. It's time for us all to stand in our power to make sure that we are educated and that we do pick up a book sometimes and read, and that we do know how to take our money and not buy irrelevant things, and to put it into something that's tangible or intangible, that's going to make us residual or passive income, so that we can build generational wealth like smart, wealthy people do. We can do that, and it's easy. It's just that we got to have the education.
Yep, that's right. And people suffer from the lack of knowledge because they do reject the knowledge. Now, to stop paying registration, insurance, and those other bills to make money off people. Now, that right there is definitely a different type of conversation for a different time, because that's deep right there. That's deep
Yeah.
right there, bro. Yeah, that's
deep.
real. That's real deep. But you're on the right track. I can't say that you're not, but that's real deep right there.
I know what track he on. He on the private side. That's what he on. He's talking about some private. If you take $1 out your pocket right now and you look at that dollar, and you'll see that it says this is legal tender used for the public and the private. That's what he on. He on the private side, because public people are not going to understand stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's our goal, is to come from the public to the private, so we can be private. Because how come everybody else private? You don't know where the senators live, do you? You don't know where the president live like that. You don't know, so why can't we be private and nobody know where we live? Hence reasons why I only use PO boxes, because I want to remain private. Hence reason why I only have trust, because I want to remain private.
This is a really good question right here. It's a really good question, statement, whatever. This is really good. So a trust is not only for the rich. If you die without a trust, you must want the government to take everything. What you got to say about that, bro?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to potentially do. They're going to take everything, and then you're not going to even be able to do nothing about it. It's probate. This is business. If you don't handle your business now and start a trust while you're living, then you will have everything took. See, the thing is, everybody thinks an estate. They think an estate is like houses and land and stuff. No, you are the estate. You are the estate. I'm talking about your body, your nails, your toes, your eyes. You the only one that can generate anything. Right now, if you said, everybody said, hey, if you told yourself to raise your hand right now, you do it, right? Because your brain said do it. Your brain said raise my hand. So why you can't say, hey, start a trust? It's the same thing. It's a mind thing. So at the end of the day, yes, they will take everything if you don't act and you don't erect your estate now. Your estate is not land and houses and stuff. An estate is you. You are the estate. And then you want to put the estate and everything you accumulate in your estate, like your shirts and your jewelry, your money, your assets, because you generated all this, you with your mind and your hands. And you take that and transfer it into a trust. It's like giving it away to somebody that's safe, that you can trust. That's what it's called, a trust. So nobody can come steal and take all your hard-earned money, which is the government, and you can benefit, because you got to remember, there's pirates, there's wolves, they want everything. This is a game. It's called Monopoly. You
Yeah.
know, when we was playing Monopoly growing up, we never thought about it like that, right? We thought it was just a game. Like, no. People on that board was trying to what they were trying to do was get all. Remember how we always used to battle each other and get all the properties? We wasn't doing it right. What it is we're supposed to work together, put the money together, and purchase the whole board. That's how you play Monopoly, like for real, the real Monopoly. It's about division. So we want to come together, and that's why you need to trust and come together with your family.
The unity. Yeah. And I don't think anybody actually thought about it in that way, right? That, you know, playing Monopoly, when you're playing this game, you think that you got foes. You think that you got foes when really you should be working together and playing this Monopoly game and monopolizing this board. And honestly, when you get that go to jail card, you land on go to jail, you go to jail, people should be ready to bail you out. People should be ready to get you up out of there, right? And that's one of the biggest things. Not only that, when it comes to this, right, and the trust and things like that, yes, you want to lose everything because by the time you're done with civil litigations, it will be nothing left. If you have a will, guess what? Civil litigations is going to drain that because you got attorneys who get involved. You know how greedy they are. We know how there's a woe on them saying that, of course, they got the key to knowledge and enter therein, but do not allow anyone to enter in. Neither do themselves enter in there, right? They have the keys to the knowledge, but they have a woe on them because they will not allow people to understand the truth. They won't give them the knowledge and they will not themselves step into the truth. So we got to know for sure that when we're doing this and we're doing what we got to do, that these individuals are going to be looking to seek whatever they can devour. They're going to be looking to seek to devour all of your generational assets, anything you left behind in your will. It really just depends on what's left over after they're done with the litigations. But if you place it into a trust and you're able to formulate your contract, your agreement in the trust, guess what? These individuals cannot put their hands on it, their paws on it, because it's already outlined in your trust agreement. That way, your future generations will reap the inheritance, the benefits, untouched. You understand what I'm telling you? Untouched, because you already set them up for what they needed to do for success. Okay? You already set them up for what they need to do for success. And honestly, while we're going to get ready to land a plane here, I want to go into a bit more about this, right? Because I want to, of course, Yeshua taught the importance, right? The importance of multiplying what you're entrusted with. And Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, taught us that we need to multiply through his parable that I recently just read. Through his parable, he taught us that we need to multiply what we're entrusted with, that we're not supposed to take the talents and bury them and sit on them. We're supposed to multiply our talents. We're supposed to utilize our talents to increase, right? Not to decrease, not to stay stagnant. So all these individuals who talking about, oh, well, I'm not doing this for this reason. Listen, you're not following what Yeshua taught you to do. If you have talents, he taught you to multiply those talents and to reap benefits and inheritance and more things with those talents to utilize them for success. You understand what I'm telling you? That's the reason why he gave the parable of the men of the 5 talents. He went out and made it 10 talents. The man with 2 talents, he went out and made it 4. The one who only had 1 talent buried it in the sand. And guess what? It caught up with him. He got rebuked, reproved, chastised. He got his talent took from him and gave it to the man who multiplied it and had 10. Now he got 11 talents. When you're sitting on your talents and you're telling yourself, I don't want to monopolize on what I have as far as talent, then guess what? You're telling Yeshua and you spit in his face. You're telling him that he was not worthy of what he did. And you're saying like, hey, I'm just going to be slothful. I'm just going to be lazy. That's what you're saying. Well, you need to be finding ways to capitalize and multiply your talent, right? He taught us to the talents that we're entrusted with, we need to multiply them. The estate planning mirrors not only this principle, but multiplying and what? Protecting the talents given to you for your family and your community. Those who you trust, the community folks around you, to what? To do what? Exactly. To protect them. To protect it all. You need to be protecting, guarding, and multiplying. Be fruitful and multiply. Those who you trust, your board of trustees, guess what they are able to do? And this is what I really want to talk about because a lot of y'all don't know that, of course, the brother that you guys see here on the screen right now, this is my brother. He actually was the one while I was wrongfully incarcerated. He actually was the one who was firing those arrows, those darts. He was firing missiles. You know what I'm saying? He was firing missiles, placing paperwork and things like that into court. While I had to go in there and do the groundwork, I had to fight the battle on the ground, right in the courtroom. He was the one that was firing the missiles. He was the one that was firing and shooting the arrows. You know what I mean? Placing the documents into the courtroom so I can be able to stand on something tangible, so I can stand on something concrete. He was the one doing so. This is what we need to do for all of our trustees. This is the reason why it's so important to form and have a trust, and how powerful it truly is. Because if you have a trustee who may be behind enemy lines, right, or who may be a captive of war, you understand what I'm saying? Who may be wrongfully incarcerated for any other reason, then the board of trustees have a fiduciary role and responsibility, because they have vested interest in the trust to get that trustee out, to get that trustee out of that bondage, to get that trustee out of that jail cell, out of wherever it's at. So since those board of trustees have vested interest in his well-being, then these individuals will treat you like a king. Literally, they will be sure that no harm comes your way. I promise you, when they start figuring this thing out a little bit more, they were checking on me like almost every day, at least once or twice a day while I was in there, just to be sure I was safe, just to be sure I was okay. I promise you, they was coming around asking me, "Are you all right? You good?" But when you have a board of trustees behind you to support you, to be sure that they know that you got somebody who cares. This is what we've been missing this whole time. We've been missing that our family members, the one who care about us the most, right? The friends, our close friends who care about us the most, are the ones who should be trustees on our board, and they should be having vested interest in all our dealings and what we do. When we get pulled over by police, we should have a board of trustees to be able to confront them. It should pop up on their radar saying, "Oh, there's a trust here associated. Do not detain." These are the things that we've been missing as a people, understanding that unity, strengthening unity, and multiplying the numbers, right? You got anything you want to add to that, bro?
Yeah, honestly, I see somebody says Logic 1611 says that Hispanic people do work together like Monopoly here in California, but us so-called black people can't stand to work together because they can't stand seeing another ninja with more than them. I say, first of all, we got to understand that Hispanics understand who they are. Blacks is not even, it's just it's an adjective. So no, we're not black. I don't identify as black because it's an adjective, and that's the first step. We're just not educated. That's it. And we've been through a lot as a people. So it's not like you got when you spiritually awakened and you're higher as far as when it comes to your education and you've been through things, you understand that you have to have understanding for our people. Reasons why we having conversations like this, because I promise you, we're not going to change the world overnight with our people, but we will spark the minds. Just like what Tupac said, you can spark the mind of somebody. Yeah. So I know somebody here, mind has been sparked, and they might even start a trust, and they might build and change generations. So we're not going to touch everybody, but we're going to touch somebody right now today. And whoever sees this this live stream later on down the line, that's what this is about. So we know that. We know it's hard working together, and we know it's hard, people not reading and stuff, but somebody got to do this job. And that's the reason why we're here, to get the job done. See, that's what happens when you're a man. You don't think about stuff like that. You think about solutions. We're always going to have problems, and we're always going to have problem after problem. That's what we was put on this planet. See, the thing is, this is a contract. God trusted us with this planet. We on here for a certain amount of time, and then we're gone. It's just business, like everything else. So nothing is ever personal. So that's one thing that we got to understand as a people, that we're here for a job specifically to make sure we make other people's lives easier, happier, change people's lives, make the world a better place. Protect each other, protect the animals, whatever. That's the job. And once we complete that, we're done. Business. But while we're here, we need to have fun. So how do you do that? You learn the rules of who's in control of this planet right now. And like Neo in the Matrix, you're able to do what you want to do. Plug in, plug out. Right now, we plugged in. We plugged in with y'all, and we talking about stuff to plug you out and get into private. And that's what a trust is. It plugs you out from the public into the private and protects you. So, that's pretty much, I feel like that I said enough right there.
Yeah. And so Logic 1611, he's on the same page. He says, that's the reason why he says so-called, because so-called black people, referring to, of course, melanated individuals, Of course,
Originals.
yeah,
Now we getting
yeah.
something. Now we getting into something deep. You know,
Hey, and it's all right
I thought we
because
was going to talk about trust and
oh
talk
yeah,
about
most definitely. And so yeah, so that's one of the biggest things, right? Is that when you understand the strength and unity, especially when it's filed and it's recorded in the county, and they understand it too, that you filed the paperwork appropriately. Listen, the strength and unity is crazy. It's hard to stop you when they know that you're unified, and they know that too. Just as you mentioned Deuteronomy 28, we all know that. But it's time to break the curses of Deuteronomy 28 because guess what? It's already past 400 years. When are we going to get our stuff together? When are we going to get it together and actually wake up and realize that it's time? It's time to move. It's time to unify. It's time to move in unity with those who want to be unified, who want to, who desire that unity. It's time
right.
to wake up. 400 years is over with. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't no excuses now. Ain't no excuses now. So now it's really time to get involved, to get really locked in and start to develop this trust, to start to develop what you need to develop so you can be able to leave behind future generations, as Proverbs 13:22 tells us to do for our children's children. As of course Genesis 18:22 tells us to do. It's time to get after it. You understand what I'm saying? It's time to get moving.
Angelo C said something too. Before I answer that for him, he said, "How do you set up a trust?" I want to say, like me and my brother here, Barak, we had issues. I'm not gonna sit here in front. I'm talking about not growing up. We was pretty real close. As we got older, the devil got busy, try to separate us. But look, we here right now, and we say, you know what? We need to build for our families and take all feelings out of it, because at the end of the day, you know, there's a way bigger enemy. I mean, come on, think about it. They charging y'all to drink water when that's free. They charge you to eat fruit when that's free. I mean, don't you want to get some land and put it in the trust so you can have power? You can have your own water. How you gonna do that? You can't do it by yourself.
Right.
You can meet new
Yep.
people and you can trust them and you can. Yes, you can. But if you could try to do it with your family, then try. If everybody's in agreement to do it, then do it. Because at the end of the day, man, you got to make sure that we're not on this planet to beef with each other. There's an agenda to keep everybody separated. So our agenda should be to stick together and to build a trust. Now, he said, how do I set up a trust? It's very simple. I'm not going to go step by step here, but what you can do is you can go to that website and it'll show you and give you a lot of information on the trust. And if you scroll down, you can check out some information that you can grab for your family. It's only $33. It'll help you understand how to set up a trust. Because I can't tell you how to set up a trust on this podcast right now, but I can guide you if you go click the link and book an appointment with me. And that's what I can do. Because right now, this is for educational purposes only. Or I can tell you to. Yeah, exactly.
And
So
plus, we got individuals who watch this podcast who we don't want this information to get out to y'all, and we don't want to lace up the people who are looking to use it for evil, right? Who are looking to do people wrong. I don't really want to do that with nobody, but honestly, I want to be sure because I like to vet my people too, understanding what their desires are, what their goal is in doing this trust. Email. Let's get the emails out. Let's get go ahead and we can get in touch on a good personal basis through email. Let me drop my email in the link real quick. Bro, you can drop your email as well. But email and we can be able to go from there. You know what I'm saying? Email, we can go from there because I don't want to go through too much.
yeah, I sent
But
links. I put links.
trust.
It's links. If you scroll
Yes,
up at the
sir.
top, you'll see links. There's links where you can sign up. There's links where you can just go to the website and check out the website, check out our reviews, do some research, and do what you got to do. Now, like I said, my whole goal is for y'all to learn how to do this stuff yourselves. And the necessary information that we spoke about in the beginning, you can go back and you can review it, write down, and then go do some research. And if you still having a hard time,
Yeah.
come get with us. Go to Preeminence Financial, www.preeminencefinancial.com. You can also follow me on IG at Lord _ Rah _ the Great. And you can also go to the YouTube channel at Preeminence Financial. we're gonna be doing a lot of these episodes. I think weekly, and so you're gonna be dropping more jewels about
Yeah.
trust and about how to build
Now
business.
yeah, it won't be on today. It might be morely on Wednesdays or Thursdays, but not today. Today was just like something we wanted to go ahead and do for you guys. I'm going to drop the website in the chat as well, so you guys can click on the website. But you have my email too. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro, but
Sure.
you have my email as well. You got other people's email. You can email us. Like I said, you go back through here. You can do your research, do your due diligence. Be sure you search through everything. And then if you're trying to navigate still, get with us and we got you. We got you. And I don't want to go through too much because it is the Sabbath as well, and discussing this. But we wanted to be sure that we introduced this information to you all, because we know that the Most High deals in trust. We know that he deals in equitable contracts with us, right? Something that is fair and just, right? Something that is fair and that is just. And as well, of course, we have to trust in the Most High Yah. We have to trust in him. So while we're trusted in him, we got to also understand how to form trust amongst each other, right? Form trust agreements amongst each other and being able to build and increase, right? Yield and increase for each other. The knowledge is what's the best thing to do. But Angelo, get with me, brother. Angelo, see, you know what I mean? You know, get with me, family, get with me. And we're going to go ahead and rock this thing out. You know, I got you. You know, I got you, brother. You know, I got you. We're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. But like I was saying, you got anything you want to add to that, bro?
No. I feel like that we covered everything, and I want everybody to enjoy the Sabbath and enjoy their weekend, you know. And I hope we was able to give y'all some valuable information today. It's very imperative and important for all of our families, for us to speak about this, because you know this is worth way more than anything. Any gold, knowledge, and wisdom is worth more than gold.
I touch and agree. All right, we're going to go ahead and give it some time for some last questions here before we land this plane. Man, I appreciate y'all joining in, man, showing some good love. Honestly, tell you the truth, I really hope this was very edifying to you, because, of course, this is the Sabbath day. So I really wanted to drop some good, intertwine this thing with Scripture, and hopefully bring more of an understanding as to why we want to talk to you about a great opportunity to, you know, just get your stuff in trust, to be able to say, hey, I'm going to form this trust to protect my future generations, and also to step the stipulations and guidelines to make sure that they understand that they got to serve the Most High, that in order to continue on in the wealth and to continue on in the in an inheritance, you got to serve Yah. You can set those stipulations through trust. So we'll give you guys a little bit of time to drop it as we're getting ready to land this plane here, to drop a question in the chat room. Drop a question in the chat. If there is no questions, we will land the plane here. And I appreciate y'all joining us, man. I hope y'all was edified in this thing, man, above all things. But you got a way to go. You got a direction. You understand what trust is. And like I said, you got the right channels to be able to reach out to for knowledge and information. I really want you guys to execute this on your own and be able to say, you know what? I got this. I'm studying. I'm doing what I got to do. Boom, we good to go. You get what I'm saying? Thank you, WarSheep and Brother Rah. Peace and blessings. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to you, my brother. Bless you. Hopefully you took down that email, my brother. Hopefully. But Shabbat shalom to you. Bless you. Hallelujah. All right, we're going to go ahead and land this plane, y'all. Bless y'all. Appreciate y'all joining me here for the WarSheep Podcast. I hope you guys were edified here today, not only through the word, but also through deed, through action that we need to implement. You understand what I'm saying? For our generations, for our future generations to come. You understand what I mean? But on the way out, bless y'all. Don't forget to like this video. Share it with those who really need to hear this information, y'all. And holler back at your boy. Do you got anything else you want to add to that real quick, bro?
Yeah, Lord, I want to thank you, and I want to ask that you bless everybody who showed up to this podcast and their families, and to bless our extended family members, and to protect our minds, our bodies, and our souls. Forgive us for our transgression and any inequities that we have committed, and to allow us to become better and do better as people. Blessings to y'all.
Hallelujah. And Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to do this podcast. Thank you for strengthening our voices, strengthening our minds, and fortifying them so we can be able to deliver this message for the people to be able to get themselves straight, for the people to be able to leave behind generational wealth and that legacy and that inheritance to the next generation. Father, I ask you now to give them the strength and the mind to act quickly, to act swiftly, to be able to set it up before their time has come to be able to serve you, Father, to be able to serve you in the ways that they need to serve you in their future generations, to instill the blessings, to instill the future and encouragement, right? To change the blueprint financially, to break generational curses. This is what our goal is here ultimately. Thank you, Father, for everything. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. All right, we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. Man, bless you, brother. I appreciate you coming on. And you know where you can be found, right? Yes, sir. Y'all click the link. Click the link. We got his information in the description box below where you can click his YouTube channel. He's going to be posting a lot more. In fact, this live stream is posted over there as well. You guys click it. We're going to be uploading more of these type of things to guide you in the right direction, to make better sound financial decisions and to break that generational curse. All right. So like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share this thing. All right. Holla back at your boy. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace and shalom, shalom.